Hey everybody, this is Larry. This is day 24 of the Leetcode Day Challenge. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, join me on Discord. Let me know what you think about this problem. Apparently I solved this already, and also, I wish they don't show this actually, because you know me. I mean, we're doing it again. But yeah, today I ran a casual Yeezy 8.5 miles. What is that? That's like no, it's not 15K, like 12K maybe, something like that. Just kind of recovery and kind of rest up for the next week. So tired, but I don't know, just not sleeping well, honestly. I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, yeah, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. So maybe it's not that important. Well, but hope everyone's having a great week and great week looking forward. And yeah, let's just get started on today's problem. We have 3169 count days without meeting. Given positive integers, we have meetings from start to end. Return the number of days where available is for work, but no meetings are scheduled. The meetings may overlap. Okay, so here it goes 1 to 3, 5 to 7, right? So days is 10 to the 9, so you can't just create a Boolean array of 10 to the 9 and do some for loops. But you can certainly do something like that. If you kind of think of that idea, but just think of normalizing it kind of in a way, right? If you only kind of look at what is possible, then what I mean is that the transition only changes at beginning of a meeting and at the end of a meeting, right? So because of that, then you can think about how to end that. And there's certainly a lot of ways we can do that, but yeah, I'm actually thinking about so days is 0 to 5 is kind of interesting. I mean, I guess we can do a number of ways, because there are a couple of ways to kind of handle the range, right? You can make, so the two ways I was thinking of is just creating one giant one, and then like from day 1 to 5 or something like that, and then anything that overlaps exactly one day or one meeting, then that would be fine, right? So that's something we can do. The other thing we can do is just count all the overlaps, not overlaps, but just count all the meetings, taking out the overlaps, so, or we don't double count the overlaps and then subtract that from days, right? Either way should be fine, I think. There's nothing that technically interesting. The idea is still going to be what I call sweep line, right? I mean, I call it sweep line because that is probably the idea behind it. I don't know why I said that awkwardly, but let me bring up the drawing board real quick. The idea really is just for people who might not be as well versed, is just this. I feel like there's this like mouse this sensitive button, sensitivity button on my mouse, and sometimes I click it, and then now my mouse is haywire, and I can't control it very well. But yeah, let me see. So yeah, so maybe you for the first part, for the first example, that is. So feel free to kind of look at it while I'm drawing it. Yeah, maybe from days 1 to 10, right? And then the idea here is just that you have a meeting from say 5 to 7. I'm eyeballing, so forgive me if it's not quite right. You have 1 to 3. Okay, maybe that's too big, but whatever. And then 9 to 10, right? So this one, there's no overlap, so it's a little bit not as useful. But let's say there is an overlap here, right? Let's just say there's another one that goes from 4 to 6, right? And the idea here is just, oh yeah. Sorry if I'm like pausing a lot when I'm talking. Man, I am trying to control my allergies. It is allergy season here in New York City, and I'm like half sneezing, half like my mouth is way itchy. So my apologies. But in any case, yeah. So you just have this idea of sweep line, right? Changing the color real quick. So here you just go from here, and then you just keep on sweeping it from left to right. And then the idea here is that when you exit a meeting, you see that here there's a chunk where there's just 0 meeting, so that's good. And then we kind of sweep, we keep track, and there's 1 meeting. We keep track here, there's 2 meetings. Keep track here, we left the meeting, but there's still 1 meeting. And then now there's 0 meeting again, so then now we kind of take place. And then we just kind of find the sum of all these times, and that should be good. It's not quite I think my visualization is actually a little bit off for this particular problem because I mean, this is like a more general way, but I think I drew this one off because this is actually on days instead of like you can think about it the other way. It's like meeting times, right? Meeting times is like 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So in that sense, you can have a meeting from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. and then another from 3 to 4 p.m., right? So then in that case, you would draw it this way, maybe, right? But that's not the case here, so I kind of misdrew this. That's my fault. Instead, you have days 1, 2, 3, right? So it'll be kind of similar, but instead you have kind of like, say, this is 1, this is 2. Okay, let me just actually redraw it on the bottom. So instead, this is, I mean, but the idea is going to be very much the same, but it's still, here you have like, say, this is day 1, this is day 2, this is day 3, right? This is day 4, all right? Okay, I skipped a number. 8, and I kind of sucked at drawing it. Okay, fine, right? And then now in the same idea, then 1 to 3, we'll just look at it like this. So basically the same, but maybe drawn a little bit different, because then now here you can see that you still have 3 days at 4 and 8, right? And maybe if you kind of have some crazy overlap from 2 to 4, then you no longer have it at 4. So there are some nuances, but overall still the same idea, right? Okay, and so with all that said, let's get started, right? Yeah, so then for start and in meetings, what do we want to do? We want to say, the way that I structure it, actually, I usually, in the past, I actually structured it a little bit differently, but I think now I am okay with just, with defining this as a dictionary of list. It's mainly for tie-breaking reasons. It's just easier to handle. I think in the past, I usually just do a sweep and then make sure there's a lot of nuances with kind of getting the right ordering of things, but I think in this way it's a little bit cleaner. And here in start, we want to say, and there's a couple of ways you can write this. You can say append 1, and actually, but you can also even make this into a list, right? Or make it into a counter effectively, right? Because then now you can say, okay, well, we increment by 1, and then we want to, you have to be really careful with these, because for this one, like we said, it's kind of drawn the way the second time, not the end of it, right? So here we want to maybe say n plus 1, we subtract from 1, and the reason is because then now on y plus, so y is going to be exclusive, or the subtraction is going to be, because y is going to be inclusive, sorry, so you want to subtract to be on the one afterwards so that y is inside. So that's basically the idea. And then now you could say for, I don't know, t in events.keys, sorted, you have to sort it from left to right, right? And then now, how do we want to do this again? Oh yeah. So like I said, the two ways to do it. One is the negative version where you count all the meetings and then subtract from days. I think I'm going to do it that way today, right? So then now, what does that mean, right? So the two states that I want to keep track of, if we kind of think about it, let me bring up the drawing back up real quick again. We want to think about it. Then now here, we just want to keep track of the start of an overlapping segment, and then all the way up to when it ends. Oh, that's pretty bad drawing, but okay, whatever. I'm using a mouse because I'm too lazy to take out my thing again. It gets up to here, right? So it means that it transitioned from previously 0 to 1, right? To 1 or back to 0. So that's basically the thing that you're trying to do, right? Yeah, so maybe I would have something like start for the current segment, and then maybe the current number of segments, right? And then now we go, okay, yeah. So for events sub t will give you the number of line segments total. that starts here. So then current, we add this kind of, I want to say, how do I want to write this to be more precise, right? The thing with the one version is that it is easy because you can, it always goes from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, right? But here, maybe what we want is actually, yeah, so if current is equal to 0, oops, and event sub t is greater than 0, then here, I mean, it's fine either way, but now we can set the start, right? So this is the start of the segment. That's the part that we want to care about. I mean, because otherwise, this is going to be the same either way. And then the other event that, as we said, we want to care about is if current is greater than 0 and the event sub t is 0 to current, right? Because that means that now we're going from non-zero to 0. So then now, the segment ends, right? So then now we already know the start and the end is at t. So that means that maybe total overlap is just equal to n minus t, or t. Well, n is the t, so it's going to be n. I keep doing it, but start minus or t minus start plus 1, right? Is it? No, just t minus start, because t is not inclusive, right, on the ending side, because you're saying that the current cell is now going to be 0, so of course it's not inside, so it's going to be t minus start. And that's really it. Here we then just mind days minus total, and we should be good, hopefully. Otherwise, Larry just said, don't know why it took so long, but collections, okay, don't know why that took so long to give me that error. Maybe Leetcode is just having issue. I don't know why I didn't have a total is equal to 0 here. So, okay, very silly mistakes aside. Okay, that's actually worse. Well, I think we have to set this, but that's a little bit awkward. Double check real quick. I mean, it just seems like total is 0 for here. So there's something really weird. Oh, this is an else if. I think that's where I messed up. Okay. Well, I mean, that's one of the places where I messed up. Huh. Man, apparently I do not know how to program anymore. Okay. I mean, there's nothing to do other than just to kind of print it out, right? But it's really awkward. Let's see. We print out t, we print out current, right? So here we start at 1, okay. At 4 we get out, okay. So then what is the total? Maybe we need to put it here. And maybe it's spelled correctly. Okay, so the total never changes because does this never happen? Is that why? Current is equal to event sub t. T current, so it's 1. Oh, I see. It's just that what I want is actually the negative version of it, right? What I want is that current minus this is equal to 0. Oh, no, it's current plus event sub t because we have the -1 here. I usually don't write it this way, so apparently I am very, yeah, that's a very awkward thing of doing it. Huh. But yeah, okay, well, mistakes were made. But yeah, easy fix once you realize what's going on. But yeah, okay, so now we have 18-19 day streak, and that's it. The whole thing is going to be dominated by this sorting. And of course, how many keys are there? Well, there are 2 keys per input meeting event. So that means that there's going to be at most 2n times log 2n, which is, of course, n log n, or O of n log n, right? And that's it. Yeah, that's all I have for this one. Let me know what you think. Should have been more trivial. I don't know. But let me know what you think. And yeah, have a great week, everybody. Stay good. Stay healthy. To good mental health. I'll see y'all later and take care. Bye-bye.